YouTube, what's good? Your boy K-Lo. Y'all gonna hit the like and subscribe button for your boy before I go and get into these prison stories, these true stories too. But yeah, check it out. So like I already know I told y'all about the prison intake and all that, but I'm gonna kind of like go into detail a little more about it, you know what I'm saying? Let y'all know like how really crucial, you know what I'm saying, it is and it can be, especially like if you ain't paying attention. So pretty much, like I say, when we first got there, my first day, they woke me up by 1 o'clock in the morning at the county jail. So by the time they woke me up, gathered everybody throughout the jail, shackled us up, put us on the prison bus to transfer to DOC. And then once we got to DOC, it was like 4 in the morning. And so pretty much once you pull in the bus, you in like a tally port. So basically you still outside, but you know what I'm saying, it's so much covered, like so much garage, whatever you call it, like the little port is covered. But depending on how many inmates you got, you could be in the rain, you could end up in the rain. And like I told y'all, I ended up in the rain because I was at the end, because they made us line up from tallest to shortest. You know what I'm talking about? So I'm all the way at the end. That's how I ain't hear Buddy when he was, you know, it's cold. Like I told you, it's November when I got sentenced to 52 months, November 18th. That next Tuesday, which is a week later, November 25th, I think it was a Tuesday, but I just know it was November 25th is when DOC came to get me and I was processing. So like I told y'all, we was outside. It's November in Orlando. It don't really get too cold here, but it'll get cold and warm up. So 4 in the morning, it's like 30 degrees. We outside, literally butt naked. I ain't talking about we got on socks, we got on shoes, we got on boxers. No, we butt booty naked outside. So they making us do all this stripping and all this, and before we go inside this prison cell, this holding cell to get processed in. But we didn't get processed in at CFRC. This was at CFRC, which is, some people you'll hear say OCI, but it's CFRC, Central Florida Reception Center. It's in Orlando, like on the east side by the airport. So they ended up putting us in the holding cell. They let us get dressed, put us in the holding cell, and they put us back on the bus and took us to Lake Butler. Now this is where we doing our reception at. This is where we finna do the intake. You finna go through orientation. So get off the bus. You know what I mean? You got the police in your face telling you what to do, yelling at you, telling you to line up. Don't look. If they say don't look, don't look. Like I say, they made an example out of somebody because we was on the wall and they told us don't look. Next thing you know, we heard somebody getting smacked and all you hear, boom, 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 boom. And you know what I mean? It's just like that. So after that basically they shaking us down, making sure we ain't got no drugs or weapons in our person. Like I say, they check everything and make you lift your, you know, your sack up, make you open your butt, cough 3 times, all that. And then after that, they'll give you a pair of boxers, and then they're gonna give you a towel. So the towel, you gotta put the towel around your neck. Then you're gonna sit down on these little benches. This in Lake Butler, this is what I can remember. You're gonna sit down on these benches, and then there's like 3 officers right here. They got the computers or whatever. And back then, they used to look at all your tattoos, you know what I mean? Make sure you ain't gang affiliated. If you is, I don't really know. I can't really tell you what they do with you. Honestly, they really don't do much with you because Florida is really not no gang state. Like we don't gang bang on the streets like that. Like you got them, don't get me wrong, you do have gangs everywhere. I ain't saying there's no gangs, but like that ain't our culture. So you know what I mean? Like I say, it's down in Florida prison, they don't really care. They gonna throw you wherever. So like I say, we sitting on the bench, they come up, they take your picture. Oh, I'm lying. Let me rewind. No, they don't. They look at your tattoos first. Once they get your tattoos, get your name processed in, then you go see the barber. Once you go see the barber gonna shave, he gonna shave your bald. Once you see the barber and he shave you, then I think you get like your blues, your prison blues, you get your regular prison blues, belt, your shoes, and then after that you go take your picture. Once you take your picture, what else you do after that? I think you get like supplies. Of course, they give you like a razor because you gotta shave unless you have a shaving pass. I'm trying to think. I think that's really it. But yeah, so but mind y'all, like this ain't no little few minute process. You know what I mean? We was in from that morning. We, like I said, we got the CFRC probably about 4 o'clock. Probably ended up getting to Lake Butler about 7, 8 o'clock after they cause they take their time with everything. It ain't no quick thing where you just get off the bus, get on. Like, nah, they made us sit in the room for about 30, 45 minutes, and they put us back on the bus. Then on the way to Lake Butler, these folks stopped at McDonald's. Like, we was down the street because we knew we was in some backwoods, but they stopped at McDonald's, got them something to eat, then proceeded to Lake Butler. So, like I say, by this time, it's 8, 9 in the morning. By the time you done getting your picture taken, your tattoos, shaved, getting if they ask you if you have any medical issues, all that, you know what I mean, all that stuff, that's a good 3, 4 hours right there. Then they'll end up sending you to your dorm. So, like I say, in prison, we don't really got no gangs, so they don't really have to separate you. Only time you really separate it is if like if you a YO, which is stand for youthful offender. So like I told y'all in one of my other videos, I was on youthful offender probation. So basically when I violated that youthful offender probation, they snatched that status away. So now I'm housed with the adults. But I was 21 at the time anyway. But it don't really matter. Like I said, if you a lot of people get sent to wild camp, but it was a blessing for me because wild camp, you be wilding out. And I really wasn't trying to wild out with 52 months. I was trying to do that time and, you know what I'm saying, get back to my folks. So yeah, like I told y'all, after that they send you to your dorm. So that's when I told y'all, basically it ain't like they ain't no instructions to, hey, your bunk is over here by the window and don't do this, don't do that. No, they just once you getting ready, once everybody get processed and everybody done, then they release you to go to your dorm, whatever dorm you in. They give you your blanket, your pillowcases, or whatever, your sheets, whatever you need. Tell you your bunk number, tell you your dorm number, and get. And that, like I say, that's pretty much it. So, like I say, when we got in the dorm at Lake Butler, it was probably like 4 dudes who was on the bus with us when we came to intake from my county jail, from Orange County Jail in Orlando. That they was in the same dorm with me when we got to Lake Butler, and when we went to the intake and all. When we went through intake and all that, basically they slept in the same dorm with me for them few days. But 9 times out of 10, when you come with people, you ain't gonna end up seeing them probably unless you got a long time and y'all end up bumping each other down the line at another camp, at another prison. Because everybody that I was with, who I got off the bus with, I ain't see them at none of my other camps. And I was only at I was only at 2 camps, but I went through Lake Butler, CFRC, Sumter, and Gainesville, CI. But CFRC and Lake Butler is reception centers. But like I told y'all, Lake Butler is also a medical center too. So if you in the state of Florida and you break a bone, you anything wrong with you, you sick, you got AIDS, cancer, and you need like real medical attention, they'll send you to Lake Butler. Sometimes you be a permanent there, and then a lot of times you just be there for a while, getting seen by medical on a regular, and then they'll send you back to your regular camp. So in this dorm that they was in, we end up with like people who got medical issues, mental issues. You know what I mean? So that's why I'm just telling y'all, like, they don't really care. They just put you, like, a few dudes who got off the bus with me, who was, like I say, was from Orange County Jail in Orlando. Them boys ain't had a lot of time either. One of my dogs, he had like 50 months, 58. It was something like that. I know it was not too long before or after I was gonna get out too, after my release date. A few of them boys had 7, some of them had 8, A few on had 2 years. So like I say, they don't really care. They just throw you in the dorm. So, and not even to go into another topic, but I got into it with a dude who had medical issues in that same dorm. Probably like the second day I was in there, bro. Like I say, cause like you in prison, you got dudes. You know what I'm saying? You don't know what they done took on the street, what they done took in prison. You don't know what they mental history like. You know what I mean? So you gotta walk light enough. But like I say, me and bruh, we ended up having some words, but ain't nothing really happened because I ended up transferring that next day anyway. Cause when they throw you in them dorms, like basically when you first coming into prison, you in transit dorms. And basically transit dorms is everybody from all over the state of Florida. They coming through these prisons because they either transferring to going to another prison, or they transferring because they here for medical. But ain't none of these dorms or these people in these dorms permanent that, you know what I mean, live there throughout their bid. So you don't know who you dealing with. Like I say, my bunkie, he had a life sentence. My little partner who came from the county jail with me, he slept next to me on the bunk, on the top bunk. Me and him talking about what we finna do, and we jumped. We asked him a bunkie. We rookies to this. We don't really know this our first bid, so we asked him a bunkie like, what you plan on doing when you jump? When you jump? But mind you, he done already been in prison. He just transferring. He probably going to another prison because he got a life sentence, and that's what he ended up telling us. He got a life sentence. So, but a lot of time when you ask people that, and you don't really supposed to ask people how much time they got unless you know what I'm saying, y'all done got cool, y'all done had multiple conversations, and you know what I'm saying, that door open up to where you can ask, bro, like, you know what I'm saying, what your bid looking like. But that's to, you know, and that's to each his own. I ain't really, I mean, I did ask people that, but it was rare, you know what I mean? Or 9 times out of 10, if somebody ain't got that much time, they gonna end up telling you anyway. So, but yeah, bro, ended up, like I say, this is my bunkie in Lake Butler in the transit dorm. I was only there for maybe 3 days. And the same dude that I got into it with, this man had me crashing out. Like I say, I ain't really crashed out, but back at this time when I went in 2008, you could smoke cigarettes. They sold Newports in the canteen, they sold Marlboro, they sold 305, and they also sold the top cigarettes. And what the top is the little papers that you see people roll joints in, the top papers, the little thin white papers. But they sell you that, it's a package, and it come with the tobacco, and you can roll like, I want to say like 30 cigarettes. So people used to get them and sell them, but we used to call them rips. I don't know why they call them rips, probably because they rip your lungs, but I don't really know, but that's what we used to call them rips. So people used to get a pack of them, they'll sell them. Some people will sell them like 2 or 3 at a time. You get 2 or 3 for like a quarter. And what a quarter in prison was a soup, a noodle. You know the little ramen packet noodle? That was like a quarter. It might have done went up to like 50 cents, but like I say, this back in 2008. So, yeah, so like I say, buddy who I got into it with, he was, like I say, he took medicine. So Lake Butler is a medical facility. So at certain time, they'll have a med call, and he was in a wheelchair. He could walk, but he had a little limp, but he could walk. So that's how some people, they move around the compound. They'll find any little thing to get out the dorm. So he telling me, yeah, Jit, you know what I'm saying? You want to hit the canteen, see if your card on, because when you transfer from prison, even if you got money on your account that you had from the county jail, it ain't gonna roll over right away. Like, you gotta wait a few days. So people be always, man, let me see if my card on. Let me see, you know what I mean? So it's hectic. Like, you can't call home. I couldn't call home for probably like a week or 2. You know what I mean? Because your people got to set up you got to send them a phone application. They got to sign that, send it back. Then they got to approve it. Then they got to have money on the phone. So, like I told you, when I first got there, I ain't even had no shower slide. No, matter of fact, I'm lying. I had my shower slide from the county, but I ain't have real shower slides. And once you get up there, back then, you had to get rid of your county slides. Some people get away with them and keep them, but you were supposed to buy shower slides from the canteen in the DOC. So like I say, I'm trying to check my card, see if my money done rolled over so I can buy me some canteen items and stuff. So basically my way to get out the dorm was to push him to medical. He in the wheelchair, so I got to push him up to medical to where he could take his medicine, and then I could slide right here next door to the canteen window. So why I do that now? Mind y'all, I'm at Lake Butler, and if people know, y'all probably done seen other people talk about Lake Butler. Lake Butler ain't nothing to be played up with. Like, them officers for real deal. This in the country, this up by like Gainesville, North Florida area. Like, it ain't too far from Gainesville, but I know for a fact they Gator fans, cause you see all in the backwoods, you see Gator fans, but you know these folks back here, they country, and they you know what I mean? So yeah. So I go to push him, bro. So now mind y'all, I'm a newbie. My head shaved, my hair started growing back a little bit, but you could tell I'm new. And then on my ID, I got a 0. A 0 basically means it's your first time in prison, so the officers know off rip. You know what I'm saying? You new. So I'm pushing this dude thinking I'm slick. The lady sergeant, she see me. And the reason I'm telling y'all about the cigarettes at the time is because around the compound, sometimes people will smoke their cigarettes, because you had designated smoking areas. They'll smoke their cigarettes, and they'll throw their cigarette butts wherever. And if you was on like the inside ground, which is a work in the prison, you basically had to go around and pick up cigarette butts with an empty cans, like an empty, you know, them big cans that pears and baked beans come in, them big silver cans. Yeah, that's what they had around the prison, and like the smoke areas. You put your cigarette butts in there. So basically, the lady saw me. She said, "Come here, inmate, country too." And she had I ain't even lying, y'all. She had snuff in her mouth, chewing tobacco one on. She had that in her mouth. So she said, "What you doing? What you doing outside your dorm?" And I know you a jit, so I know you ain't been in prison that long. So basically, I ain't lie. I was just like, man, I just got here. I'm just trying to see if my card on. I'm trying to see if my mom money that she sent me rolled over to her. I ain't got nothing. So she was like, "What kind of cars you like?" So I'm like, I like Ford, I like Mustang, I like trucks. Like I really was just, you know what I'm saying? I'm just naming stuff. She was like, "You like Cadillacs?" I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Cadillacs cool. I ain't never had a Cadillac, but they cool." She was like, "Well, you see that bucket over there? Go over there and fill it up with them cigarette butts." And basically what she was talking about, they call them Cadillacs. That's what they call the cans. They call them Cadillacs. So basically that's why she was asking me that I like Cadillacs. Basically telling me, go ahead and pick them damn cigarette butts up. So yeah, so like I said, I got caught out there with bruh. It's cold too. I ain't got no long johns. Only thing I got is these. I'm gonna tell you what they give you in prison. And this ain't these. The blues that they give you are not brand new. They give you used blues that have rips all in them. Yeah, you don't get the good blues till you get to your camp, and you know what I'm saying? You pay somebody to get you some fresh blues, or you go to the laundry. And even still, sometimes at some camps you can't get no fresh blues. But yeah, so I'm out here picking up cigarette butts. Cold. They give you a jacket, but all I got was a jacket, my blue shirt that I had to have, my pants, and then they give you some bobos. We call them bobos. It look like them they little slip-on blue shoes. Them shoes Bruce Lee used to wear. Yeah, you know the little slip-on. That's what they give. We call them bobos. So I had them on, so the ground cold as I don't know what. I'm out here picking up cigarette butts. But when I was done, she had me out there for about a good 45 minutes to an hour. It really wasn't no cigarette butts to pick up, but I was just walking around acting like I was picking them up because I ain't want to get beat up or yelled at. Because them folks will jump on you at Lake Butler, man. I'm telling you, they for real. Y'all playing, you know what I'm saying? They gonna jump on you. So when I was done though, she came over there. She was like, "All right, inmate, what dorm you in?" Told her what dorm I'm in. She was like, "Go to the canteen, see if your card on." She was like, "But don't buy nothing." She was like, "I can't let you come back to the dorm with no canteen." She was like, "But you can go see if your card on." So all in all, like when I was done picking up the cigarette butts, she let me go to the canteen and see if my card on, which it was on. So I think I ended up, like I said, I ended up moving the next day, but I went to the canteen that night, got me a few items, and then that next morning I ended up moving to the West unit. They call it the Wild Wild West. It's basically another transit unit, which is at Lake Butler. It's on the same compound, but basically they put you on the bus, shackled up like you going to a whole nother prison, but it's right on the same compound. They take you there, they put you in another dorm, and then you just pretty much you in them dorms until you go to another prison. And they don't tell you when they gonna come take you to your main prison. They don't give you no hints. Only thing they do is just wake you up that morning on this when it's time to go. So some people, and not y'all understand this, some people they be in these transit dorms for months or weeks. You know what I mean? That's just how they do it. A lot of people don't get, majority of the people, they do end up moving at a quick pace. Like I said, I was at the main unit about 3 days, and then I went to the West unit. I think I was at the West unit about another 2 days, if that. I think I was either maybe like a day or two, and then I went to my main camp. Once I went to my main camp, I knew I was gonna be there for, you know what I mean, some time. So I was able to kind of like, I ain't gonna say relax, but I was kind of able to like start doing my time, start getting my mind right on, focus on what I need to do, why I'm in here, to get back out there to my people. So yeah, once I went to the West unit, I was there for like a day or two. I can't remember, but I was there for like a day or two. They come hit your bump. I was already up too, because they do it as soon as the lights come on. Like as soon as they do that last little count before the lights come on, they'll come around with a list. And it was only maybe like 10 of us in this dorm. We in a big dorm, like a big, probably like a whole 80 to 100 inmates, but we in transit dorm, so it ain't that many people in this dorm. So it was probably like maybe 10 of us in the dorm, and then I think maybe 8 of us ended up transferring out to go to different camps. So I was already up that morning, because I'm hoping, I'm like, boy, I hope that, boy, I'm ready. Now at this time, I'm ready to get to my main prison. You know what I mean? So I'm like, yeah. So I seen the officer right there, so I seen him. And then I was, like I said, I was already up. I was already sitting up on my bunk. I ain't had nothing. I think I was reading a book or something that I had got from somebody, because they'll have like little books and games in there that you could play. And when she came by my bunk, basically when they say your name, you gotta say your last name and your DC number. And basically it was like, log, pack it up, and wait by the door. So basically that was my signal to go pack my stuff up and go wait by the door. Then they put us out by this little patio where all the buses at, and then basically you ain't shackled right then, but you still behind the gate, but you in like a little patio to where they basically they got the buses right here, and then they got they got the file, they got your files. So these files, they got all your charges on there too. Got every charge that you came to prison for, why you came to prison, how much time you got on them, and everything. So mind you, these officers, it's like 2 or 3 buses. So and each bus gonna make 2 or 3 stops. So you got 3 buses, and then each bus gonna make 2 or 3 stops at a prison throughout Florida to drop these inmates off and pick inmates up, and they gonna bring someone back to wherever they going or wherever they coming from. So once they call your name, they'll say your name. You gotta say your last name, say your DC number, and sometimes they'll tell you what camp you're going to. So basically, when we was there, they was like, all right, if I call your name, say your DC number and line up, you going to such and such. You going to such and such CI. So that was that. So basically, I want to tell y'all this. A lot of times, well, I know at CFRC and at Lake Butler, these officers, they'll tell other inmates what you in there for. So you got to think, a lot of you got people in there for rape charges. got people in there for molestation, murder, you know what I mean, like child neglect. So in one case, as we lining up, this officer I'm talking about, he literally, and I ain't just saying this to say this, but everybody who got on the bus had some messed up charges, and he was like basically saying, like this one dude, he called his name, and then the dude said his DC number. He tried to get on the bus. He was like, "Hold on, I ain't tell you to move." So the dude was like, "Yes, sir." So he came back. So the dude looking nervous. So the officer was like, "How old was she?" And he was like, "No, how old was he?" So the dude was like, "What are you talking about, sir?" He was like, "I'm looking at your file right here. You got a lot of time, so I'm asking you, how old was he? Them boys gonna have a lot of fun with you where you going." So basically, he telling that, like, cause he can't necessarily read his exact charges out, but he basically asking him how old was the boy that he molested. You know what I'm saying? So the dude ended up was like, "Under 15, sir." He ended up saying it. So once he said that, he let him get on the bus. When he got to my charges, he didn't say nothing, because I really, like, and not even brag on this, but I had a robbery charge. And in prison, these officers see so many messed up charges to dope charges and robbery charges. Them is like minor to a lot of these other charges these dudes have. You got a lot of people up there with murder, attempted murder, vehicular homicide, rape, molestation, child porn, you know what I'm saying? You just got all type of messed up charges. So he ain't really say nothing to me as far as, like I say, with my charges. And at this time, in the incident that I'm talking about, I had already been in prison for like 2 years, and I was going to Sumter. Because every time that you transfer prisons, you don't just go from one prison to the next in the same day. You're going to always have to go through a reception center. So if you're in South Florida, and say you at Dade CI, and you about to transfer, they about to transfer you to North Florida to, I say, Appalachia. I think that's how you say it. Am I saying Appalachia or ACI? One of y'all know what I'm trying to say. Yeah, you gonna have to go through South Florida Reception Center from Dade CI. This if you transferring to another camp in North Florida, from South Florida to North Florida. So y'all know Dade, because I'm in Florida, so Miami-Dade County, that's south. That's like south of Central Florida. That's way down there. So if you're going from Dade CI to North Florida, you're gonna have to go from Dade CI to South Florida Reception Center. Then you're gonna have to wait there for however long they keep you there. Then from there, you're gonna have to go to, you probably gotta go to another camp, but if sometimes they'll just go ahead and take that ride and take you to Central Florida Reception Center. But if I'm not mistaken, you're gonna end up at a few other camps for a few days. But that's just how it be. So yeah, you're gonna always have to stop at another camp reception center. So yeah, you're gonna end up having to go to CFRC, which is Central Florida Reception Center. Then once you go north, you're gonna have to go to North Florida Reception Center, but I forgot what they call it. It's something else. Y'all gotta think, I've been out the system for a little minute now. I did from 2008 to 2012, it's 2023. So you gotta think it's been a little minute. But I remember, you know, I'm in a lot of detail, but I just can't remember certain little details. But yeah, you're gonna have to go to North Florida. Then from North Florida, you'll go to that camp up in there in the Panhandle, or wherever that camp at in North Florida. So yeah, that prison life, boy, that thing could be stressful just like that in itself. So I advise y'all, especially y'all jits watching this, y'all younger than me, well, stay out that system, boy, because it's hard to get up out of there once you get caught up. You know what I mean? It's real hard. It's real easy to get in trouble. Like, I got in trouble within a split second. When everything went left for me that night, when I seen my dog get killed, we were just finna go home. We had done made a few little dollars. My dog had just got out of jail. He kept calling, like, boy, I got a bad feeling, boy. Y'all boys need to come home. We like, yeah, we finna come home after this last little, you know what I'm saying? It was like 1 a.m. Yeah, we finna come home after this last little beat. And that last little beat my dog ended up being shot. So that's just how quick stuff could change. And just from that little incident, is why I'm bringing y'all these prison videos from that little incident. And like I said, I could have beat the charge, but I was young. You know what I mean? I was hot-headed at the time. I just wanted to, you know what I'm saying, get it over with. Ended up taking probation. So yeah, y'all be careful out there. Be smooth, man. But yeah, y'all go ahead and like, subscribe, comment, follow your boy on IG. Fool with your boy K-Law, man.